Testing, testing. Testing, testing. Hey, it looks like it updated. Ooh, it is delayed a little. Cool. Okay, I don't care too much. Let's give it a try. I don't. I think I'll just leave it as it is for now. Alrighty, here goes nothing. Hi there, I'm Abby. I'm a yogi and a Salesforce engineer, and today I'm here to walk through some community stuff with you. Just first and foremost, I'm trying on all my new equipment because I'm a professional. Yes, I'm a professional. I know what I'm talking about, right? So I'm a 5-time certified Salesforce admin and yogi, and those part of my lives. I've been doing them the same amount of time, so I'm here to spread love through the Salesforce community and hopefully peruse the Trailblazer community today to answer some questions, talk about some topics, really just giving this whole bit a try, see if I like it at all or not, and learn along the way. So I'm so glad you're joining me here today for my first iteration of giving back to the Salesforce community, being my own voice into the abyss that is my life. So welcome. Alrighty, so I'm finding my way over to the Salesforce Trailblazer community. I prefer to go through my Trailhead profile. So I spend too much time on Trailhead. If you've never been there, please find your way to trailhead.salesforce.com, log in, right hand over that email address, and we can get in and noticed into our Salesforce community, right? To get all things access from Trailhead learning to our community resources. So today I'm really interested in just going to Trailblazer community, seeing some of the questions that are available there, answering them, seeing what comes up. It's just really fun to get prompted with all these different ideas of things that I've seen in Salesforce along the way that we maybe not get to talk about as much, maybe not the pretty pristine parts of Salesforce that we like to be in every day, but some of the nitty-gritty details that have made or break that are pretty basic, but we all got to do. So super excited to support others within the Salesforce community. So as mentioned, I like to go there through my Trailhead profile. I log in, and nowadays this is our landing page for Trailhead. Luckily, Salesforce has been doing some really fun enhancements for us to give us this more modern look and feel to our Trailhead and community experience. Now they've put us together this beautiful dashboard within our Trailblazer community profile, so that I can not only get to Trailhead, but other resources as well. So we see here, I'm a ranger. Howdy, Abby. Thank you. We are on the trail today. But where I'm going is I'm going to scroll down just a little bit, going to my Trailblazer community feed. So by default, this is showing me what I'm following, but we do have these other opportunities to jump into the Trailblazer community when we can. Of course, my image is blocking it already. I thought for sure this was going to be the right place for it. Maybe just a little lower. Here we have following. We've got our other options under following here that we have available. I'm just going to go to the whole page, so I'm hitting show more because I want to be the full experience. So get me off that dashboard. I just want to see what's in my feed, see what's, I don't know, my peruse questions and activity and whatnot later. I'm sure going to give it a try. So where are we? What do we see in here? I'm on the Trailblazer community feed, and what I'm following. What I'm following is a whole bunch of groups. I'm really active on the community, all sorts of groups, and that's kind of how Salesforce started in the community, was chatter groups, right? That was the same kind of concept that we've heard around chatter. The chatter group is what this was originally off of, and then we kind of formed that into these community groups that were local based. I never knew the Salesforce community when it was in person. I've only ever experienced it in the virtual world, being newer to the community, but I really do enjoy it because I was kind of pigeonholed into the small place in which I was living. There wasn't a lot of people doing Salesforce back there. So now being in a more populous place where the Salesforce community is more robust, I'm sure it'll be fun to experience Salesforce community in person. I'm not going to Dreamforce this year, but maybe one day. Maybe one day we'll take a trip to California and see the show in person. But what do I see on my community feed today? I'm seeing somebody asking about Community Cloud or Orgis processing, Adobe Analytics. So I've never used Adobe Analytics. Fun tool, I'm sure. So let's see, I'm new and recently certified. Congratulations. Oh, I don't have any experience in the real world of Salesforce. Oh, to that part of Salesforce. Does anybody have any projects or ideas I should work on to show employers that I know what I'm doing? Does IMAN have a webinar on this topic? Anyone interested in taking a role of a mentor with me? Well, that's nice. All sorts of stuff. We got more comments here from all sorts of people. Oh, how cool. Well, being new to the Salesforce community is probably a good place to start. I've been in the Salesforce community for 5 years now. Ooh, where has the time gone? Right, as mentioned earlier, I'm a 5-time certified admin in the Salesforce world. But what I've chosen to do is I want to stay on the sales people side of this career that I found myself in. I'm a yogi also, so talking and interacting with the people really means a lot to me. So I definitely can develop, and I'm learning the methodologies around what is code. But for me, it's more important to stay on the admin side of Salesforce. That's what really gives me that motivation to come back to my job every day, right? These interactions with the community is what means a lot to me. So I'm going to be an admin, so that's my perspective on the community. But me and being new is really scary, right? This industry is very new. I've been working in it for 5 years. I'm one of those admins who describe myself as Salesforce found me. The organization I was working for decided to implement it, and I had used it a few times as an intern, and they thought of me. So I went from 0 to 1,000 in Salesforce. My first week on my first Salesforce gig, I was in Chicago at Salesforce taking admin 201, like in person there in 2017 in Chicago at Salesforce. It was just such an immersive experience. Then I followed up with 3 months on Trailhead, learning the tool, right? Going through 1 billion modules, almost 100 of them that first year, and just about 100 every year after. Trailhead modules, just learning the platform. So it's really tough, right, to have this, what do I do, right? If I've decided to transition into Salesforce, right? If you're not in the case of like Salesforce found me, right? Somebody came to me to try to start in my Salesforce journey. So I didn't ever have to worry about finding that first job. Well, nowadays, Salesforce is much more of a robust industry, right? We're trying to get to the science of how do we develop Salesforce. So a lot of people feel this pain of like, I'm certified, right? I've found Trailhead. I've done my research into the platform and what is object-based programming. And now it's like, what do I do to get that first job? And, if you were like me, I was in the Midwest in the United States and small town in Indiana, and I knew all 6 people who did Salesforce in my local community. So it was like, what do you do? And for me, I moved 1,000 miles to beautiful Colorado, USA. And here, the tech industry is very robust. There are many companies, almost endless companies who are use Salesforce around here, Salesforce partners, Salesforce consultants, right, where I find myself today. So your location matters around where you are in Salesforce. That's coming down lower, right, since we do find ourselves in this virtual world. It really breaks down those barriers for that location-based opportunities. So luckily right nowadays we see people, at mentioning other groups like job posts or, suggesting, Trailhead projects, right? Those real world projects that you do. I myself have purchase my own Salesforce org. I know it's a bit expensive, $1,200 a year for one enterprise license. Not the cheapest thing in the world, but that's also a way to get experience in Salesforce. I know a lot of people who use dev orgs, right? Since I'm just doing this for me, myself, and I don't have any other users that I need to get into the system. And right, I'm choosing to do this as a business. So I've purchased a license. I'm going to create an instance for myself because I have a long-term business approach to that. While, if you're just trying to learn to get real world experience, we can make trailhead playgrounds or dev orgs, right? Sandboxes that we can use and build to our heart's delight. We can install any managed package we want. We can configure to our lives away. So to me, that's a really good way of keeping it free, but also getting Salesforce experience is we can spin up our own dev org. From what I understand, you just have to log in at least monthly to keep it active. But you can have a dev org for forever, where I know a lot of these people, even like Eric here that I followed for a long time, some of those OG Salesforce individual who paved the way for the rest of us here, have used dev orgs to keep some of their special projects in, right? I spend a lot of time building something for a client or for a use case at the org in which I'm working, and I want to keep that for later, right? I want to keep that knowledge, that basis of what I built. So I download that into one of my sandboxes, recreate it, and there I keep it. So let's say you're looking for that real world experience when you're interviewing with an employer and looking for what can you build, what have you done? You've never worked for an organization before in Salesforce. You could pull out your dev org and be like, look at all the things I've built, come with a story, a curated instance, right? If you prefer sales service, whatever your favorite Salesforce application is, we dive in and we look at what you've built in your dev org. So that's definitely a really good way. I know there's definitely websites out there. So Salesforce and volunteering, I'd give it a Google out there and see maybe what's available. I know there's some job, right, for us freelancers who want to get started in freelancing. There's options out there for that as well. So give the Trailblazer community a look, right? Job postings, Trailhead projects, your own dev org, creating your own use cases, right? I think those are all really good options to give us some real world experience, plus behaving in the community. If we participate in the community, that's what makes the difference here of Salesforce, right? Salesforce is one of the largest tech companies in the world right now. They're competing Apple, Google, the big Microsoft daddies out there. And we now have this more robust industry with this very diverse experience here where we can have a lot of opportunities to expand and reach into the community. So I'd use all of these tools as your evidence of what you've done in the real world in Salesforce. But I'm so happy to have you here. I'm so happy to be a part of this community with you. Please consider participating, consider volunteering, getting out there, being in one Salesforce Ohana. It's so fun to see you guys here today. I think that was probably a pretty good enough test for my first time. I'm gonna go congratulate this person. And I hope I will see you around sometime too. Thank you for joining me here today. Have a good one.